Hi, welcome back once again to the Green Onion. Again, my name is Jay. So we're moving on to video number 3. And this is another one of the tools that help in your fight for weight management and weight loss. And that's foods and the possible need for supplementation. So foods is a big one. There's two things that you're likely very aware of. That sugar is the devil and fiber is fantastic. Some of you may be saying, well, the last part, maybe not so much because I'm not crazy about fiber, but really I'll get to one of the reasons why, or a couple of reasons why. But starting off with sugar, there's a big misconception that sugar is this substance that's just going to make you energized and keep you going, when it's actually completely the opposite. All that sugar is it's a very empty calorie, something that's burned quickly, and because it is an empty calorie, you will get that slight increase in energy for that short period of time. But ultimately what sugar really is a sedative. And I repeat, it is a sedative. So that sugar crash that happens, that latter part is the only real aspect of sugar. We use it as a sweetener, like a flavor enhancer, but that is ultimately what it does, ultimately what it will do. And it causes very real, very harsh inflammatory responses in the body. The more you add, the worse it gets, ultimately. And over time, you can actually develop some chronic conditions because of excess use. It just starts to break down a lot of processes within your body and starts to tax, certain organs and different systems in your body a little bit too hard, and it can lead to pretty serious consequences. So ultimately, this is talking about cutting back, not cutting out. Because if we try to cut something completely out, ultimately, because of the human mentality, that's very unrealistic, likely going to lead towards failure and binging, to be honest. So if you're somebody that just absolutely loves candy, and they just can't even imagine ever cutting that out of their lifestyle, then it's not something that you're going to want to drastically cut back and just kind of hope for the best. Cut back. You want to just taper that back as best as you can, and you'll know that you're following the right method, because if you say do this kind of very slow, gradual tapering back, and all of a sudden you find yourself back in the same patterns as before, that's not the right method. You may have to modulate and try again. It may be something where you set certain days or things like that to make it a little bit easier to eventually cut back on the amount of sugar that you're taking in. That being said, moving on to something like fiber. Fiber is really fantastic. Other than it improving overall digestive health, it's great for the heart, and on top of that, it can be very, very helpful for hormonal conditions. Like if you have women with estrogen dominant hormonal conditions, fiber can be of a big help because it can actually help to sweep out that excess estrogen. So definitely adding fiber to your diet is a huge thing, and everyone should. So it can play a very important factor in improving your overall health. A couple other things, eating whole foods and things like that is very important. You don't want to have those empty calories, the empty carbs and things like that. You want to eat as many of the whole foods as possible. Cook as many meals as possible, not the prepared, the canned foods, the ready meals, things like that. You want to cook as many as you can from scratch. Mixing your vegetables and meats and grains. That's really where it's at. Ultimately, though, you don't want to cut out your favorite foods. So, like sugar, if you try to just completely abolish certain foods from your diet, it's likely going to result in failure because you're going to stress out. You're going to stress out at the fact that you're never going to be able to have that again. You're going to stress out at the cravings for that particular flavor, and you may be able to resist for a certain period of time, maybe for some a very long period of time, but eventually when you have that taste for that one thing again, you're going to binge, and that's going to lead to possibly even bouncing back and having even more weight than ever before. So we got to keep it realistic. You still want to have those foods that you love. Still want to have those things that you love. But just cut some of those nastier things back, just a little bit. And if you can stand to cut them back more, then cut them back more. Just be real with yourself. Don't push yourself too hard and stress yourself out, because that is not going to hit those results that you want. It's just not possible. Now, as far as things like supplementation, one of the things that's very important is your gut. So be good to your gut and it'll be good to you. So if you have, say, this long-standing pattern of really, really poor diet, it's very unlikely that your gut health is very good, very, very good. It may need a little help along the way. It may need some probiotics. It may need some prebiotics to help plant the seeds for that positive or that good bacteria, I should say, and help to overthrow the bad bacteria in your gut and improve, again, just that will improve your overall health, and will also help to improve how you break things down. And you may find that just by doing that, improving your gut, that all of a sudden that you're now having an easier time achieving your goals. But that's just one of the things. You may, depending on the condition that you're experiencing, you may also need further supplementation. You may have some kind of deficiency and require some kind of vitamin supplementation in order for you to even maintain or achieve any goals. Possibly you're in a situation where you have, from a male standpoint, too little testosterone that's causing you to gain some weight. You may have a condition that's causing you also as a male to have too much estrogen, and that's causing you to gain weight. On the female side, we've discussed it before, the hormonal issues that can definitely happen, too little progesterone, too much estrogen. Estrogen dominance is a tough one to deal with. That may require some kind of supplementation or medication to get that back in check, to help you get to those goals that you need to get to, or that you want to, I should say. But ultimately, it's, you want to try and not necessarily set a plan for yourself, because a lot of times when we set these meal plans, it's something almost that we're trying to conform to, and then we as people, we want to have flexibility. It's going to cause stress. Just try to be reasonable with yourself. Cut back on those bad foods. Still have those foods that you love, just not in excess. And try to incorporate some of those better things, those whole foods. Try to cook more often than having a prepared meal. Try to cut back as much as you can on the sugars, because really that is a bad one. And adding, more of that fiber as well. That's going to go a long way. Okay, that's just a little bit of the aspect of kind of food and supplementation. For more, by all means, definitely check in with your doctor, your specialists, nutritionists, things like that. And they can give you a little bit more in-depth information on maybe for you, specific things that you should be avoiding, because maybe you have some kind of allergy that you want to make sure that you're avoiding certain things. But that being said, I'll be moving on to another aspect in the fight for weight management and weight loss in the next video. But again, thank you very much for watching today, and I want to wish you the best the rest of the day. Talk to you soon.